I'm back! Boy, did I miss you, Beatrice. And I also missed the smell of Kinzo's burned meat. Woo!
そなたが歪めるだろうその表情が楽しいからの他に何の理由が必要なのかほらほら目をつむらずにちゃんと見ろよほらほらほらほら
Man, it's like nothing has changed while I was gone. You guys are still fighting each other like a married couple.
魔法だよ家具だよそなたがどんなにわらわや魔法の存在を否定しようともほらほらほらほらほらほら悪いなバトラー結構面白かったぜしかしお師匠様の言う通りにしてみたんだが本当に結構いいとこまで行けたな何でもツンツンと残虐を尽くした後に程よくへたれて出れてみせると好感度ってやつが大幅アップするんだろ
Oh. Oops. I think I accidentally went back in time. I think I started the wrong episode again. That lonely tone was the sound of the desolate wind blowing by. The color of the glittering flower petals on the rose bushes was that of gold. The group of gold butterflies which had once danced through this golden rose garden like fluttering rose petals could no longer be seen anywhere. The master of the golden land is the golden witch, Beatrice. She could be called inhumane and cruel, arrogant and outrageous, and also naive and simple. And that laugh of hers, which lost its grace more and more the longer it continued, could no longer be heard. The golden witch Beatrice sat like a doll, resting in a deck chair adorned as beautiful as the golden rose garden. She wasn't relaxing there. Empty-eyed, never responding to any questions, and yet still not permitted to sleep. Beatrice was sitting there as if she was a doll. Her hair was down, and Virgilia was carefully fixing it up with a comb. If Beatrice had been complaining about this and that regarding her hairstyle, then it would have been clear that she was the usual battle. However, she gave no responses, and showed no reactions. So instead, it only looked like Virgilia was combing the golden hair of a large doll. Alongside there was a table. On it was a chessboard, along with a mix of black and white pieces in an all-out battle. However, something about this setup looked different from normal chess. It might have been a game similar to chess, but not identical. And on the other side, sitting back in his chair, as he contemplated his next move, was a young man. No. Perhaps he wasn't thinking of his next move. Every once in a while, he would change the positions of the pieces, reconsidering the situation each time he changed it. Maybe He was reconstructing previous games, trying to discover the thought process behind those moves. In the past, Kenzo, the Ushiromiya family had once likened studying chess games to taking a journey through the thoughts of the old masters. Ushiromiya Beller was on a journey in search of the Golden Witch's thought process, which had led her to create these arrangements and make these moves. And what a journey indeed. The biggest mystery of them all. The Golden Witch's mind and heart. Beller took a black piece which he had only just moved forward, and returned it to its original place, sighing deeply. Beller's pieces were white. However, on that chessboard, the side facing Beller was Black's territory. He was stepping through the game from Battle's perspective.
お前の指し手はやればやるほどに理解できねえぜ。
Even Beller didn't expect that Battle would respond to that statement. No. He was still holding on to the hope that there might be a chance of her responding. And only made it sound as though he was talking to himself. Bato's eyes reflected nothing, and her mouth told nothing. Beautiful hair, by the way. After begging him to kill her, the Golden Witch had become a corpse which had given up on living. She wasn't sleeping. She was forbidden to step down from this game, and therefore sleep was not permitted. So she must have heard. However, his words probably hadn't reached her heart. The Golden Witch would no longer sneer at Beller's moves, nor would she praise them or belittle them. Beatrice was no longer anything more than a living doll. Even so, she would glance at him every once in a while. It would be an empty glance, but a glance nonetheless. Sometimes she would seem to make some sort of gesture or even move her lips. However, her movements were never able to communicate anything to Beller.
どうやったらこの局面でこの指し手になるわけだ。わけがわからねえんだよ。お前の指し手はよ。
ベアとバトラ君が話しかけていますよ。
なんとか言えよ。クスクスとかゲラゲラとか。いつもの黄色い笑いでいいから。
It seemed unbelievable. That shrill laugh of Battles would never be heard again. However, even if she couldn't answer, his voice was surely reaching her. Well, I cannot say that I truly understand why Bato is the way she is now. I'm not even sure where to begin. Like, I could repeat some of the ideas I mentioned before while the last fight happened, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna go back to square one with Beatrice and see if I can find something in this game that will help. That is my plan for this one. Better was talking to her because he believed this. So he said the same thing one more time.
どうやったらこの局面でこの指し手になるわけだ。わけがわからねえぜ。お前の指し手はよ。
この子の考えることはわけがわかりませんか?
Virgilia answered in her disciple's stead. Up to this point, she had done her best to avoid speaking for Beato. After all, there was a chance that Beato would respond in some way, and Virgilia didn't want to be the one to take that opportunity away from her. Which meant that Bella was being forced to bear with the silence. Until Beato herself answered. Virgilia could no longer bear to watch him like this. And Bella, too, wanted to have a conversation with Virgilia, with faith that their words would reach Beato's heart.
ああ、さっぱりだな。ベアトの立場になって、こうして駒を動かせば動かすほどにわからなくなる。
I mean, Beatrice is an enigma to us. And, I mean, while it is rude of me to say this, I do have to state it yet again that her lack of communicating her thoughts and feelings straight to us, it just doesn't help the situation at all. Hell, you, Virgilia, told us about the Bron tube last time, which, even to this day, it is a pretty important concept for what we're doing here. Which is something Beatrice never would have told us about, I'm sure. Because of how she is, so... Maybe you can throw us a bone here and give us something to work with. I mean, it has been a while since we talked, Virgilia, ever since episode 3. Like, maybe we can get to some formal conclusion here. The successful execution of a serial murder following an epitaph. He was stepping through the games from the witch side with that as the victory condition. But he just couldn't make it fit with Beato's moves. He could see several incomprehensible moves in the records of their past games that clearly conflicted with that victory condition.
さっぱりわからねえ。こいつの思考を探る旅路はあまりに険しすぎるぜ。
Amen, brother. I mean, I made 3 fucking videos about that. I mean, I've been thinking about that for God knows how long.
でも、あなたは投げ出さないのですね。
ああ、約束した。
Kill me. Let me die.
俺はこいつを安らかに死なせてやると約束した。そしてそれは俺にしかできない。
Which is good. It is a promise that you better keep, Beller. Beato's right ankle was bound with a heavy cold steel shackle. He wasn't tied to anything, so it didn't really restrict her movement. However, it symbolized restriction. It was a visualization of the restriction that prevented her from leaving the game without either victory or loss. And the shackle was probably hurting her. The mercilessly cold steel shackle was tormenting her over and over inside her waking dream. Oh? So there was never any relief in her empty expression. Her eyelids would sometimes tremble like she was having a bad dream, and every once in a while she would let out a pained gasp. Unless I win, Beato will never be released from the curse that prevents her from resting in peace. Alright, well... Let me try here. Let me try and see if I can understand this. The shackles are restricting her. Not in her movements, in a literal sense. So it has to be emotionally, right? So that would mean, like, her thoughts, her feelings are imprisoned inside of her. Like, she will not move out of her shell anymore, in comparison to before, where she at least had a goal in mind and made better advance through the games as she wanted. It can be that her emotions have always been hidden deep inside that made it hard for us to understand her. And now she has taken that to an extreme. It's even more difficult, I think. And in Human Claim, well, I guess one thought that comes to mind would be that, well, it is as it's said like here. The shackle prevents her from leaving the game. Either she loses or wins. Therefore, if I'm to think from a Human Claim perspective, the murderer, if Beatrice is the murderer of all this, like the culprit in the human world, that has the Beatrice persona, she cannot, like, they cannot back down from their murder. Like, they have to go through with this. There is no turning back from this to just leave the plan and live their life. They have to go through the plan of murdering everyone. Whether the murderer will win or lose, that is what they're gonna do. They're not gonna give up on their plan at this point. It is too late. Maybe that is an idea.
良いのですか。第5のゲームはもう始まっているようですよ。
興味ね。
Why should I take part in any game without Beato as an opponent? If that's the only alternative, then stepping through past games on a journey in search of Beato's thought process is a much better use of my time. Yeah, well, I tried, with varying degrees of difficulties and inner turmoil, so maybe stepping into a new game will give us, like, fresh new perspectives. The thing is, though, it's... Oh.
次のゲームマスターは私がやるわ。依存ある？ないわよね。
Yes, I do have several objections. But no objections.
依存だらけよ。ベアとは戦いを放棄して人事不正。ベアとの不先輩でゲームオーバーでしょ。確かにベアとはいろいろとあったんで、今はちょっぴりノックアウト気味。でも戦う気力を失ったわけじゃない。だからつまり私は介助役ってわけ。わかる
？Beato was lying down on a deck chair, almost as though she was sleeping. However, she wasn't sleeping, and she wasn't awake either. She was nothing more than a living doll who had given up on a victory, asked Bella to perform her last rites, and entrusted everything to him. Of course, no fifth game would ever be prepared if everyone just sat around. So Lambda Delta had succeeded Beato as the game master, and proclaimed that she would prepare the next game.
ふざけるな。これは俺とベアとのゲームだぞ。お前らどこの誰か知らねえが勝手に話を進めるんじゃねえ。
Yeah, how about you two just buzz off and, I don't know, like, bathe yourselves in chocolate or something. Like, you are not needed here.
あんたに意見は求めてないわ。どうすんのベル。 受けるの？受けないの？いいわ。あんたが引き継ぎなさい。
なんだと？ふざけるな！お前ら何者か知らねえが、俺とベアトを無視して勝手に話を進めるんじゃね
え。落ち着きなさいよ。
Will you stop flashing me already? You know what I meant. Get your mind out of the gutter.
確かにプレイヤーが変われば指し手も変わる。あんたにとっては戸惑うことも多いかもしれないけど、それでも大きなヒントになりうるでしょ？
知らねえよ。
No.
勝手なこと言って仕切ってんじゃねえ。
ベアとのゲームを4つも繰り返して何もわからないんでしょ？ならプレイヤーが変わるのは大きなヒントになると思うけれど。
大きなお世話だ。これはベアトが用意し、俺を対戦相手に指定した俺たちのゲームだ。どこから湧いてきたのかもしれないお前らにかき回されるのはごめんだ。
ならベアトを起こして次の準備をさせて。できる？
ベアトはしばらく起きねえよ。それに新しいゲームなんて必要ねえ。あいつがこれまでに出題してきた4つのゲームの譜面だけで十分だ。仮に第5のゲームがあるとしても、それはベアトが出題し俺に挑むものだけで十分だ。お前らには何の関係もない。
Beller couldn't hide his irritation at these two witches called Rambuda Delta and Ben Castel, who had shown up after the game's start, and who had started to try and continue it on their own. It looked like these two witches were of an even higher rank than Beato. So high, in fact, that even Beato's master Virgilia couldn't come close. Yeah, they are voyagers, alright. With each consecutive game, they are just creeping in more and more to take control over things. In fact, at this rate, there is no doubt that they will take control over things and screw with us even more. Which, you know what? Fine. As long as we're going somewhere with trying to understand Beatrice, I'm fine with whatever. If Lambda decides to start raining candy or jelly beans on Rokenjima for 2 days, I wouldn't be opposed to that. In fact, in my eyes, this can prove to be pretty useful. I mean, not the raining candy and jelly beans stuff, but it is a bonus. Beller had a feeling that he'd seen these two several times before. However, this was the first time he had learned their names and spoken to them directly.
ベアトを起こせず、あんたに次のゲームを準備もできない。だから私が次のゲームを用意するわけ。私たちはね、いつ正気を取り戻すかもわからないベアトにいつまでも付き合ってられるほど気が長くないの。ね、ベルン？退屈はごめんなの。イライラするほどに。
お前が退屈がろうが、俺たちは知ったことじゃねえ。
まあまあ、このパーフェクトなラムダデルタ様に任せなさい。私がゲームマスターを引き継ぐ。大丈夫よ。あんまり絶対完璧にはプレイしないわよ。
Well, you better not.
ベアトっぽく、わけのわかんないフェイクや尻尾、ボーナスヒントをいっぱい用意してあげる。ベアトの世界をより理解するための大きなヒントにしてあげるわよ。
Letting my voiceless emotions explode. I slammed the table hard. The two witches barely flinched. One grinned. The other looked indifferent, as though nothing had happened. The two of them just stared at me silently, as though they were reproaching me.
何？
不満？あんたは私による第5のゲームを降りるっての？それって不先輩？
バトラは降りないわよ。もちろん第5のゲームにも参加するわ。
勝手に決めるんじゃねえ。お前らに俺は付き合わない。知ったことじゃない。
ならやっぱり不先輩ってことよね。このゲームは魔女側の勝ち。人間は屈服ってことでお開きでいいかしら。
降りるなら不先輩でゲーム終了だけどいいの？たった一人残された妹が無限の世界のすべてでたどる不幸な境遇を確定させたいのならそれも選択よ。
When Benicastel mentioned Angie, Bella's expression changed instantly.
てめえ、エンジェのことを気安く口にするんじゃねえ。
あなたにこの私、奇跡の魔女ベルンカステルが味方しているからこそ、エンジェにはひょっとしたら家族が帰ってくるかもしれない奇跡の余地が残されてるのよ。あなたが自らそれを捨ててエンジェの無限の未来全てを不幸なものに確定するのもまた私には一興だけれども。
I vaguely understood what she was saying. Until I win in Beto's game, I'll remain trapped in this bizarre world. And if I abandon victory, then most certainly my parents and I will never return to Angie. For Angie's sake, even though I know that the witches are toying with me, I must keep on fighting.
くそ。
なーに？その不満そうな顔。自分の妹をグズグズのひき肉にされた怒り、もう忘れちゃったの？プチプチブチブチ、無数の焼けたペンチで引きちぎって細切れにしていくあの光景、今度はちゃんと真正面で見ないとダメ
Benicastel faced the palm of her right hand upwards. As she did, a pale light gathered there, and some kind of blue glowing crystal appeared there. The scene was reflected on its sharp surface, but it wasn't the scene that surrounded him now. If you look deep into that crystal, that fragment, then you will probably lean, and you'll probably learn what was reflected on there. You stared at it, then you would surely witness that scene where Angie finally reached her beloved brother after devoting 12 years of her life to that goal, all to have her entire body torn to bits while she was still alive. Without thinking, he grabbed at her collar. But as soon as he touched whatever made up her form, it disappeared like foam on the waves. And then, as naturally as though she had been there from the beginning, Benicastel was leaning against a distant wall.
あなたがゲームを降りるなら、これはかけらでなく確定した現実になる。その未来を紡ぐのは私じゃないわ。あなた自身よ。あなたが決めなさい。最愛の妹の未来をどうしたいのかを。
Balor's fist shook with anger. But even if he swung them down, he wouldn't be able to hit Benicastel. Like a cat or a phantom, this witch wouldn't even let someone pet her if she didn't wish for it. Yeah, I mean, I tried petting her before, but not only does she keep teleporting away, but Lambda keeps throwing eggs at me because she doesn't like that. She also said that next time she'll throw hungry demons at me, so... Besides, she's telling the truth. For Angie's sake, I cannot step down from this fight. Even if these unpleasant witches hijack the game board.
さすがベルン。脅し方もえぐいわね。そういうことよ、バトラー。あんたにはゲームを降りることなんて許されてないの。あんたもベアとも私たちの退屈を紛らわせるゲーム版の駒でしかない。あんたのそのわけのわかんない怒りやイラつきさえも私たちには退屈を紛らわす最高のお菓子。まあその程度の怒りじゃ駄菓子程度だけどね。
30円で2枚入ってるカレー味のポテトせんべい程度ね。
魔女ともねえ。
Yeah, it's what it is. If they want to play, then, well, just let them play. Let's not forbid the children from playing in the sandbox. And just let them create sand castles if they want it that much.
エンジェのためにも戦いなさい。そしてベアとのためにもでしょ。
In a way that was admonishing, or perhaps baby. Beatrice smiled, tormenting Bella in a similar way to how something too sweet sometimes gives you a headache. The host of this tea party battle was absent now, and the guest witches were already making themselves at home.
どうすんの？後ろ宮バトラー。運命に屈しちゃう？降りちゃいなさいよ。魔女の駒にして遊ばれるなんてもうごめんなんでしょ？ベルンの駒はつらいわよ。きっとあんたもエンジェみたいに使い捨てにされるわよ。
あなたに降りる選択肢は与えてない。妹の未来のために戦い続けるの。私は味方よ。その未来にたどり着けるようあなたが勝利するまでサポートするわ。私が退屈するまで永遠に。
Better couldn't allow himself to fall for their provocation and casualry. Huh, that is a word I'd never heard of before. Casualry? Could that mean mockery? To mock them? To mock Battler? This witches knew that he got mad easily. And they were trying to take advantage of that. Yeah, they're provoking you. Better withstood it all, and finally relaxed his clenched fists.
第5のゲームとやらが始めたいなら勝手にやればいい。好きにしろ。
好きにするわよ。あれれ、どこ行くのよ。
Even though Battler had acknowledged his fifth game, he turned his back on them, which surprised Delta a bit.
お前がベアとの代役を務めるってんなら、そこのベルンカステルとかいう魔女が俺の代役を務めるのも勝手だろ。
道理ね。そうじゃないと不先輩になってしまう。
何よそれ。私が作る渾身のエピソード5をあんた無視するっての？
I mean, this was supposed to be a beach episode anyway. The game will consist of us just playing volleyball on the beach and wear swimsuits / bikinis.
失礼しちゃう失礼しちゃう。
バトラーはしばらく休憩するそうよ。それまでの間、私がプレイヤーの代役を務める。
Oh, he's taking a break? Just like me? Okay.
それでどうバトラー。
Are you kidding me, Bella? I mean, I already took my break. You should have taken a break with me. Not in separate situations. I mean, come on. Like, I'm ready over here to take some action.
そうしやがれ。
But okay, I'm joking here.
なにラムダ。間抜けなバトラじゃなくて、私がプレイヤーだと遊んでくれないの？
Wait, so let me get this straight. So you're saying that Burn is gonna play instead of Beller, and she's gonna fight Lambda? Like they're gonna fight each other in their own game? You're telling me that I'm gonna have to work with Ben Castell from now on? Rock on! The luckiest of all fragments.
そんなわけないわ。ベルンと一緒に遊べて嬉しいわよ。さあさあ、遊びましょう遊びましょう。ラムダデルタ様の超ハイパーでキュートに可愛いエピソード5を一緒に遊びましょうよ。
Yeah, let's watch Lambda Delta and Ben Castell play Umineko and hear their commentary on the episode.
一応ベアトの作った世界なのよ。
We're gonna be uploading this on YouTube.
世界観ぶち壊しにしてないでしょうね。
I did say before that Lambda Delta and Ben Castell would be fitting as VTubers.
大丈夫だってば。私そういうのの空気は読める方なのよ。ちゃんとベアトっぽい世界観でもっと面白い物語に仕上げてみせたわ。バトラも休憩終わったら早く戻ってくるのよ。見逃すともったいないわよ。ベアトの秘密に迫れるようなボーナスヒントをたっぷり用意してるんだから。と見せかけてミスリード満載でますますに煙に巻く気なんだけどね。ちょっと、こらバトラ、魔女の話聞いてんの？
Well, only now you notice that he's gone? I mean, he already prepared coffee for himself while you were blabbering this entire time. Without answering, Batter disappeared into the darkness. After shrugging and cackling, the witches immediately started playing with the game board they had stolen from Batter.
あの魔女どもにベアとのゲームは理解できるのか？
同じゲーム版を使う以上、この子にできないことはできません。しかし、この子がやらないことはやれます。
やらないこととは何だ？
チェスの道具はチェスで遊ぶために存在します。それを使ってトランプをすることはできない。しかしチェスの駒を相手に投げつけてぶつけたり、チェス盤に落書きしてみたり、そういう行為をすることも不可能ではありません。しかしそれはチェスに対する冒涜だから誰もやらない。
That definitely wouldn't be chess anymore. You look like Beto's eyes clouded very slightly with sadness.
ふざけやがって。
So, what? You're saying that this will no longer be a battle between magic and human claim? Like, no more fantasy or mystery? I mean, we're still gonna be having the same characters and all that, but either this is gonna turn into even more of a shonen anime, or they're gonna turn it into a high school teen romance. Like a visual novel of sorts.
これは俺とベアとのゲームだ。他の誰にも冒涜はさせない。
I mean, maybe I was not far off with that beach episode thing. I mean, Danganronpa is doing that sort of stuff right now. At that time, gold butterflies gathered and Ronoe appeared, holding a tea set with black tea.
紅茶のおかわりはいかがですか？
Hey there, Ronoe.
もらえるか。
かしこまりました。いかがですか？お嬢様の思考を探る旅は。
さっぱりだが楽しんでるぜ。
しかしよろしいのですか？こちらでくつろがれていても。
あの魔女どもが勝手に進めてるゲームのことか。
ええ、先ほど紅茶をお届けに伺った時にはもう第一の番の殺人が起こり、もうじきその次の殺人も起こりそうな気配でした。
Already? But we just came back here like 3 minutes ago. Sheesh. By the time we're gonna finish episode 5, they are already gonna be on game number 237. When Dad and I were playing, the game would be paused whenever someone left their seats. However, those witches wouldn't pause that game just because I wasn't around.
ロノウェは奴らのゲームを見たのか？
一部ではございますが。
どうだった？
Nonoe lifted a pot high with an elegant gesture as he poured the black tea. After he was done, he finally spoke, expressing his thoughts in very few words.
愛がありませんな。
愛ってなんだ？
Did not have love.
これは失礼。女性風に申し上げるとです。男性風に申し上げるならば、義理が通らぬと申しましょうか。
I understood what those words meant. When I met Virgilia's eyes, she shook her head slightly and stared at the floor.
上辺は大変よくお嬢様のゲームに似せていると思います。しかし根本が大きく異なっています。
それはベアとのゲームのルールに反することなのか？
いいえ、反しません。ラムダデルタ様はお嬢様のゲームのルールを実によく理解なされております。しかし
Better stood up. There was no need to make Ronoe say anymore.
バトラク。
ロノウェ、すまない。せっかく入れてもらったけど紅茶はいらねえぜ。
やはり参られますか？
ああ、俺たちのゲームに部外者はいらない。
Those guys weren't even here in the beginning. Because I've been loafing about, crazier and crazier witches have been introduced. And now they've hijacked this game between me and Battle.
取り返さねえとな。ベアとのゲーム版は今は俺が預かってるはずなんだ。
Yep. We have given them the game board, and now we shall yank it away from them. Like, even if they know the rules and the how of the game. It is missing the core, from what I'm understanding here. And that is exactly what we're gonna go after now. Now that we have Burn and Lambda's perspectives to follow.
その俺がここでぼんやりしてるわけにはいかない。
ありがとう。その言葉をこの子に聞かせてやりたかった。
きっと聞こえていますよ。お嬢様はそれにお返事することができないだけです。
Battle later silently, like a living doll with dull eyes. The game board that she had created herself had been hijacked by incomprehensible people, and was being turned into a mess. Battle had called on me to be her opponent. And this game must be something she created for me. I've got to take it back.
待ってろ。俺が取り返してくれ。
Of course, Battle didn't respond in any way. That's right. If she cannot respond, then I have to protect it in her place.
行ってくるぜ。バルギリア、ロノエ。黄金の眠り姫の面倒を頼むぜ。
はい、お任せを。
いってらっしゃい、バトラ君。そしてどうかこの子のいないゲームにてこの子の何かを見つけてあげてください。もしそれを見つけることができたなら、たとえこの子が不在であっても、あなたはこの子と戦ってくれたことになる。
そうだよな。ああ、全然ダメだぜ。俺は何をやってるんだ。
Let's go. Let's take it back.
魔女ども、待たせたな。俺の休憩は終わりだぜ。
When he faced the jet black heavens and yielded us, the whole world shattered, as though it were made out of thin glass. Then, as though it had been that way since the beginning, he transformed into that smoking room where Beller had fought battles so many times, in which the two witches had no hijacked.
なにあんた、今頃戻ってきたの？超遅すぎ。もうゲームは2日目どころか大詰めも大詰めよ。
バトラがいつまでも来ないから私が勝手に進めちゃったわ。
Yeah, like you ever even waited for me in the first place.
ベルンはあんたよりずーっと頭が冴えてて痛快だったわよね。
うるせえ。プレイヤーは俺だ。代役の魔女どもは引っ込んでろ。
Yep. Time to fix whatever it is you have broken on this game board. Like, let me see. Let me see the damage that you have done. Ah, damn it. You really did fill the island with candy and jelly beans. And apparently they created a roller coaster. On second thought, maybe we should just let them play. That sounds like fun.
別に今から参加しても構わないけど、もう出番ないわよ、多分。
確かに。だってもうクライマックスもクライマックス。これで多分ベルンが詰めたゲームセットだもの。
なんだと。
いいんじゃない？最後の詰めくらい見物しても。
そうね。おいでなさい、後ろ宮バトラ。もうほとんどおしまいだけど、私の作ったキュートでエレガントなゲーム。エピソード5、End of the Golden Witch。
Ends of the Golden Witch. Oh. Okay. And we have the profiles here, apparently, shoved into my face. Okay, well, let me see this. Well, apparently some people have died this far, it seems, from what they said. Okay, let me check on those that have died this far. Corpse discovered in the cousin's room on the upper floor of the guest house. The direct cause of death is unknown, but her neck was sliced open by a sharp blade. The wound was deep enough that anyone could easily confirm her death with absolute certainty. In a guest room on the first floor of the mansion. Upper floor of the guest house, first floor of the mansion. Pierced through the back with a demon stake. Its tip reached as far as his lungs. Because he was lying face down on the bed, suicide must be ruled out. Cousin's room on the upper floor of the guest house. His neck was sliced open by a sharp blade. The wound was deep enough that anyone could confirm it. Upper floor of the guest house. Same condition. Same condition. First floor of the mansion. The direct cause of death is unknown, but his neck has been sliced open by a sharp blade. First floor of the mansion. Upper floor of the guest house. Okay, well... They said that the game was nearing its end. Quitting her job several times along the way. I keep thinking about this description over here of how she quit her job several times along the way. Something tells me that this has something to do with her serving in the Kuadorian mansion. Like, okay, the family is gonna think that she quit, since, well, she wouldn't be at the mansion at that point, but she didn't actually quit. She just moved herself to Kuadorian at times. And when she came back, well, she started serving the mansion anymore and no longer serve the Kuadorian mansion, and so on. Whenever she quit, she would go to Kuadorian and serve, and not the mansion. Either because, well, Kuadorian Beatrice was there, or young Shannon or something, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, so let me think about this. Game is nearing its end, and like apparently from what they are saying, Burn is closing in on Lambda, and she is gonna win. I mean, I guess it does reflect that. Wait, wouldn't it imply that Burn had found the culprit? And fast as well. And, well, the deaths seem quite different. Like, 4 of them are found in the cousin's room and, like they're all sliced. And the other 2 were found in the, in the mansion, on the first floor. With only a stake that stabs him in the back. Other than that, the other deaths are consistent, except for Hideyoshi for some reason. Eesh. Hey, let me check the witch side. Am I gonna have like any surprises around here? The witch who knows that miracles don't occur. Participates in the 5th game as the player opposing battle. However, from the beginning, her aim has been to deny the witch illusion. Her goal is to destroy battle and her role as a way to stave off boredom. Serving, who stepped down from the position in the 4th game. Because of that, the story of the 5th game, while appearing very similar to previous games, is expected to turn out quite differently. Quite interesting. I guess maybe I'll check some of the stuff a little bit later as well. I'll see. I guess I'll check some of the stuff in my spare time as well. Right now, no humans exist on this island except for those in the park. And with one exception, it has been shown that none of them have committed murder. And the culprit is among these people.
Oi, oi. となると決定的じゃねえか。
魔女が犯人で魔法で殺人を犯したわけでない限り。あんたなの？あんたがジョージを、主人を殺したの？どうしてよ？ どうして。
私は殺していません。私は何も。
Wait, hold on. You're telling me that you guys found Natsuhi to be the culprit of this game? And I have to keep in mind that Burn and Lambda changed the game board, and things can be different. I mean, I guess it's not like I was expecting for them to find the true culprit of the previous 4 games, just like that. I guess we're going with the same kind of story like in the first game, when Natsuhi was suspected of Kinzo's she was suspected of Kinzo's disappearance. It seems to be going that way again. I panic, and with a voice that really couldn't be called flowing. In the manner it was, to put it coldly, silent. Natsuhi denied the suspicion placed upon her. However, there was no longer any way around it. The girl stood up, brushed back her long hair, pointed at Natsuhi, and said it one more time. The girl? Wait, what?
あなたが犯人です。後宮夏日さん。
世界に散らばるオーブ視覚に届かぬもの実体のない観測者全地を満たす繰り返すペンデュラムわずか少しの不純動機生命の木の果実は土に落ちた魔法のように不自然でじみたこの儀式が自分を描く筆先で構えるのなら世界ごと否定する